Thanks for coming out this afternoon, everyone. My name is Deb Hammer. I am founder and CEO of Breakthrough Leadership Consulting. So we are here today with scholars from across the city of Rochester in a variety of schools to talk about school culture and climate, right? And school culture and climate really means what the day looks like and feels like and sounds like for our students and for parents, right? What that experience is really like in our schools. So Breakthrough works with schools, nonprofits, government institutions, just to really hone in with leaders about how we can improve the experience overall, right? And for schools specifically, we want to think and hear directly from you about how this school experience could be improved. I am joined today by my colleague, Jeremy Smith from Freedom Scholars Learning Center. And Jeremy, can you tell us a little bit about Freedom Scholars
Yes,
Learning
absolutely.
Center?
Freedom Scholars Learning Center is an organization that's located in the Beechwood neighborhood. We are a non-for-profit organization, or considered a CBO, a community-based organization. We specialize in after-school and summer programming, and particularly literacy is our thing. When you think about Freedom Scholars Learning Center, I always tell people there's 5 pillars that define who we are. It's professional development, leadership development, mentorship, cultural relevant pedagogy, and then lastly, literacy. And we host a lot of summer and after school programs for kids, who want to engage in, looking at literacy from a different lens. On the after school program, we infuse agriculture and do some partnerships with other companies that get our kids learning about, gardening and things like that. In the summer, we utilize the Children's Defense Fund Freedom Schools model, in which we teach kids the importance of literacy through the lens of the civil rights movement. So.
Very nice. Thank you. And so all of the scholars and parents who are joining us today are part of your program.
It's my babies. It's my babies.
Yes. So thank you. Thanks for hosting us today. And so before we hear directly from our scholars and parents, I want to ask you, Jeremy, you do so much work with students and families in our community. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about the school experience and so I would love to hear just from your perspective, like when you hear school culture and climate and think about the experience that the scholars you work with are having on a regular basis, like what comes to mind for you?
Good question. Outside of the typical, negative things that I hear with bullying and things that I hear associated with, lack of support when it comes to, certain things that scholars are dealing with, the biggest thing that I say to me that really destroys the learning environment or the environment in the schools that our children attend is the standards. I feel that the curriculum, from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, the standards are being lowered. I don't know if it's because they may see or perceive that what our kids are putting on tests that they can't achieve at those high standards. So it seems like things are starting to be graded on a curve, right? Where you see kids who got D's and C minuses, right, making honor roll. Back when I was in school, you couldn't even sniff honor roll with any D's, right? So I don't know if that's a part of the social promotion thing where they try to hurry up and get them out of the school because they ain't really doing nothing, or are they lowering the standards? It could be a combination of both, but what I'm hearing, that rate there in itself is destroying the learning environment, because I think everything else feeds off that, right? The negative behavior, the truancy, all that is due to, the standards being lowered. So if this is the case of what's happening in our schools, we got to change that and nip that in the bud ASAP.
Well, that's interesting. And I think in similar ways we hear sometimes in certain spaces about kind of lowering expectations as well for behavior, right? Like what's allowed inside of schools and, really impacting if students are feeling safe or not.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's one of the things actually
That's one of the major things that I hear too, safety.
Yeah.
Safety. Kids feeling like there's not a safe space.
Yes.
Right? And I ain't just talking about, the student who's usually depicted as a kid that's, on an island by themselves. I'm talking about certain kids that got a lot of notoriety inside the school, right? And some of them don't feel safe, right? So it ain't just the typical kid that you usually see that isolate themselves. It's also the kid that's popular.
Yeah.
There's some popular kids that are feeling like, school is not safe, so.
Yep. Yeah, so interesting and hearing a lot of these things, and that is why we wanted to have this conversation today, right? Because as opposed to us saying what we're hearing directly from students and families, we want to hear from those students and families. So thank you to each family for being here this evening.